Horimiya tells a story of a beautiful young girl named Kyoko Hori. Not only is she beautiful, but she is smart. So she became one of the popular girls at school. Her beautiful appearance is the main attraction. When Kyoko was about to enter the classroom, several male students looked at her. In class, she is greeted by two close friends, Toru Ishikawa and Yuki Yoshikawa. When Kyoko was sitting on the bench and they were joking, Toru kept staring at Kyoko several times, and it is clear that he secretly had feelings for his best friend. Before the day's lesson started, Kyoko accidentally dropped the eraser on the floor. A male student who was walking stopped to take the eraser. Izumi Miyamura is a male student with long hair covering half of his face. After picking up Kyoko's fallen eraser, Miyamura sat down at his desk in the corner of the classroom, by the window. Apparently, he was a quiet student and rarely socialized with other friends. Toru jokes that no one knows Miyamura because he has never done anything that attracts attention since entering school. For some reason, Toru's words caught Kyoko's attention. During the lesson, Kyoko looked at Miyamura several times. She seemed curious to know more about her classmate. The scene changes when Kyoko comes home from school. Kyoko's house looks big and comfortable. Once home, Kyoko immediately changed her clothes and her appearance. This time, the long hair left loose in class was tied into a ponytail. After that, she started cleaning the house, which looked very messy. Using a vacuum cleaner, she swept the entire house. She then wiped the table, folded clothes, and dusted between the closets. After that, her work was not finished. She leaves the house and heads to a kindergarten school. Apparently, she picked up her younger brother, Hori. Kyoko's life at home is very different from that at school, where she is a popular student admired by many students. At home, she has to replace the mother role for Suda, not only by cleaning the house, but by dropping off and picking up her younger brother from school. Even though she wants to play around like other high school students, she has a big responsibility to look after the house. Kyoko did the job with pleasure, but on the other hand, she apparently doesn't want her schoolmates to know her true state at home. Neighbors who know that Suda only lives with Kyoko, one day called Kyoko. The neighbor told her that she saw Suda with a strange man. The man is said to have the appearance of a delinquent due to the many piercings on his body. Hearing the news, Kyoko was worried, and she was afraid that Shota would be kidnapped. But before the phone was turned off, the doorbell rang. Shota is not alone, and he was with a man who did have a lot of piercings on his ears and lips. The man apparently drove Shota home. After making sure the man wasn't a bad person, Kyoko invited him into the house. As an expression of gratitude for taking Shota home when her brother had a nosebleed, she prepared a drink for him. Shota, Kyoko, and the man chatted at the dining table intimately. That's when the man suddenly said he knew Kyoko. But she denied it because she had no friends with the appearance like him. The man then introduced himself as Izumi Miyamura. He convinces her that he is Izumi Miyamura, and she finally believes. The next day at school, Izumi's appearance returns to normal. He was sitting in a chair by the window with long hair covering his face. Meanwhile, Kyoko, who still didn't expect Izumi's other appearance, continued to stare at him from her seat. Unbelievable by the previous day's events, Kyoko went to Izumi's chair and greeted him, making him lift his head and reveal his face. She asks him to talk to her outside of class. Kyoko again expresses disbelief at the difference in Izumi's appearance at school and home. Izumi explains that he only looks like that outside of school. In addition, he then said that he thought she would be afraid of him after seeing his delinquent appearance yesterday. Izumi's worries are apparently not without reason. He explained that previously when his friends found out about his appearance outside of school, they were afraid. Kyoko insists she is not afraid of him because of his appearance. On the other hand, she is happy because they have something in common. They both have secrets that others don't want to know. Another side of themselves is hidden. Kyoko's words made Izumi smile. He felt happy and thanked her because he had socialized with classmates for the first time. Kyoko and Izumi became close. They often meet every time after school. Shota asked Kyoko to invite her friend back then, so she invited Izumi to stop by the house. While Kyoko cleans the house and washes the dishes, Izumi will look after Shota. He played with Shota and read him a book. Izumi's personality is apparently very different from his delinquent appearance. He quickly became familiar with Shota and even brought Shota's favorite cake when he visited. Izumi didn't just become close to Shota. They became closer to each other. One night when Kyoko is preparing dinner, Izumi reveals his tattoo. He then lifted the shirt and showed the tribal tattoo wrapped around his side. He apparently really likes tattoos. The tattoo made Kyoko feel scared. She told him that she understood and accepted why he had a tattoo. She then said that everyone has the right to do whatever they like. At school, Kyoko and Izumi are close friends. This could not be separated from the observations of Kyoko's two friends, Toru and Yuki. Yuki saw Kyoko and Izumi chatting near the classroom window. Toru, who suddenly came and saw the closeness of Kyoko and Izumi, felt jealous. They then greeted Kyoko, and they all chatted happily. But Toru came to Izumi, standing alone, to ask if he and Kyoko were dating. Izumi replied that they had nothing to do with it. On the same day, Toru and Izumi skipped gym class. They were sitting alone while watching their friends exercise in the field. Toru asked Izumi why he always wears long sleeves, no matter how hot he is. Izumi finally confesses the truth, telling him about the tattoos on his body. He then showed a row of piercing holes in the ears and lips. Toru is surprised because Izumi is not what he thought. Toru said that at first, he thought he was a gloomy person and didn't want to socialize. This other side of him makes Toru interested and wants to be close friends with him. Izumi begins to open up to Toru, and they become close friends. Even Toru reveals the feelings he has for Kyoko. After school, Kyoko invites Izumi to go home together. However, he refuses and allows Toru to confess his love for Kyoko. Izumi said he would pick up Shota and take care of the house. Toru finally talks to Kyoko and says he has feelings for her. As expected, she rejects Toru's declaration of love. Izumi was almost late to pick up Shota, so he hurriedly left. That's when he accidentally met Yuki. Luckily Yuki didn't recognize him because his appearance was completely different. Kyoko gets angry with Izumi at home after knowing that Toru knows about his secret, and she doesn't want others to know about the secret. Kyoko's anger shows how jealous she is when the other side of Izumi is known by others. They argue with each other, and she finally shows that she actually has feelings for him. At that time, Izumi then said that he did not want the other side of her to be known by others. The next day at school, Kyoko is in the student committee room with two other students who are the administrators. She apparently is a member of the student committee, where every day, she gets assignments from her senior named Remi Ayasaki. Remi is dating Kakeru Sengoku, Kyoko's childhood friend and student committee chairperson. When handing over the task for the day from Remi, Kyoko and Kakeru seem close. Remi accidentally bumps into Izumi in the schoolyard, causing the file she was carrying scattered to fall to the ground. But strangely, she didn't care about the fallen files and just left. The scene moves back to the school building the next day. In the hallway of the school, the students were seen swarming. They saw Kakeru scolding Kyoko, who was considered not to carry out her duties as a student committee member properly because she neglected to take care of the files given. Izumi heard that and immediately remembered the file Remi left after colliding with him yesterday. He turned out of the school building and looked for the file in the schoolyard. Luckily, he managed to find the file among the bushes. Izumi ventured to give the file, but before that, he looked for Kakeru. He met Kakeru in the school hallway and immediately beat him. The fight with Kakeru was apparently not the only one. The next day Izumi then fights with Toru because of Kyoko. After hitting Izumi, Toru instead checked to see if he was okay. The fight made their friendship even closer. On the other hand, Izumi and Kyoko become closer. He always came to Kyoko's house after school, and they would eat together. They tried to get close and intertwine hands. After holding hands, Kyoko was about to express her feelings for him when suddenly the house door opened. Apparently, Kyoko's mother, Yuriko Hori, came home with some groceries after picking up Shota. The atmosphere became awkward when Yuriko saw Kyoko alone with a boy. Then Kyoko introduced Izumi to her mother. Yuriko looked a little scared of Izumi because of his appearance. After hearing more about him, Yuriko finally believed he was a good person. She then allows Izumi to be friends with Kyoko and Shota. The scene changed a few days later. Kyoko was seen sleeping with a thick blanket. She is holding a thermometer that shows a number with a high temperature. Apparently, she is sick and has a fever. Kyoko's condition worries Izumi. He comes to visit her and accompanies her into the room. He tries to take care of her and gives her a drink. Kyoko's condition, who had a fever, often made her mutter. Kyoko talks about her past, where she was always alone because her parents worked. She was crying, and Izumi tried to calm her down. When she was sleeping, Izumi said that he loved her. But actually, she doesn't sleep and hears Izumi's declaration of love. She immediately woke up, looking at the door where he had left the room. At his house, Izumi is sleeping when his friend from middle school, Kuchi Shindu, suddenly arrives. Kuchi is the only friend he had in middle school, so their friendship is very close. The flashback scene shows Izumi's time in middle school. At the time, Izumi had no friends. In fact, he was ostracized by other students at school. He then felt inferior, as if he didn't have anything of value. One night, while looking at his reflection in the mirror at the study table, he decided to do something he really enjoyed: change his appearance. He believed that his life would change if he did what he liked. Returning to Izumi's room, Kuchi was happy to see that Izumi had changed. He is getting happier knowing Izumi is not what he used to be, and he already has a close relationship with a beautiful girl, Kyoko. Kyoko sneaks slowly into the classroom at school, and she is apparently embarrassed after hearing Izumi's feelings for her the previous day. Kyoko tries to avoid Izumi, but meets him on the school grounds. He suddenly surprised Kyoko, who was peeking to find out where he was. He actually knew that night she was not sleeping. But despite knowing that, he didn't say anything to her. On the other hand, she quickly left school. After school, as usual, Izumi came to Kyoko's house. They sat conversing together in chairs, and a new surprise appeared. Kyoko's father, Kayasuke Hori, suddenly arrives. He spoke bluntly and started asking questions about the relationship between Kyoko and Izumi. Kyoko initially refused to talk about it, even Izumi looked embarrassed. But their attitude actually confirms the feelings they have for each other. Kyoko tells her father that Izumi is her boyfriend. When she drives Izumi home from her house that night, they are finally dating. On the other side of the school, Toru looks sad because his feelings for Kyoko are unrequited. He then came to the student committee room and met one of the members, Sakura Kono. Sakura, quiet and shy, apparently managed to cheer up Toru until he became cheerful again. The scene shifted to Izumi, who was conversing with Kayasuke. Kayasuke asked what he liked about Kyoko. Izumi was shy at first, but finally answered firmly that he liked Kyoko's side for who she was and how she didn't judge someone by their appearance. The next day at school, news of Kyoko and Izumi's relationship spread. Almost all the students talk about Kyoko dating Izumi. The news apparently did not make all the students at the school happy. They actually think Izumi and Kyoko are not compatible. Kyoko didn't care about the opinion of her friends, but Izumi actually felt angry, and finally, he decided to do an extreme thing. The next day at school, Kyoko is shocked to see Izumi's new appearance. He cut his long hair short and took off his usual glasses. Izumi's appearance became that of a cool student. The new appearance makes the students' opinions at school change regarding Izumi and Kyoko's relationship. Izumi was not avoided by his classmates anymore. Even the girls at the school started to approach him. Meanwhile, Kyoko and Izumi's relationship is getting closer. They are free together at school, because they no longer hide their relationship. After school, after Kuchi gave candy to Izumi and Kyoko, Izumi kissed Kyoko for the first time. The scene shifts to Toru and Yuki. Yuki apparently knows Toru is close to Sakura, and she feels annoyed. After Toru lent her a uniform to cover the stains on Sakura's uniform, Sakura gave him a cake to express gratitude. In class, Toru brings the cake and tells Yuki he got it from Sakura. Yuki is getting sadder and feels she is not worth being with him. On the other side of the class, Izumi and Kyoko were sitting together. Their relationship is very close, like inseparable. However, another side of Kyoko is revealed when they are watching a movie together. While watching a movie, another side of Kyoko is revealed, and she behaves like a boy. Izumi was shocked and frightened, which made her feel embarrassed. He then tells her that he loves her the way she is. Kyoko and Izumi are with Kakeru in the student committee room at school. They talk about the sports festival that will be held at the school. Later at the festival, they will compete in sports agility. At the festival, their school life becomes more colorful. Yuki sees Sakura will join the cheerleading club. Despite knowing they are rivals for Toru's love, Yuki helps Sakura train. On the other hand, Kyoko and Izumi are getting more intimate. Even Izumi often makes out with Kyoko in the presence of other friends. Apparently, this was done by Izumi, not without reason. He wants to show a classmate, Mizuchi, who likes Kyoko. Even though Kyoko rejects Mizuchi's declaration of love, Izumi still wants to prove to him that he is worthy of being with Kyoko. At the basketball game, Mizuchi and Izumi compete. Izumi managed to win, making Mizuchi admit he was worthy of being with Kyoko. In the dream, Izumi sees himself in the past. Unlike in the past, he has a friend and the most precious person in his life this time. He was no longer alone, and he believed that no one was destined to be alone. The scene moves back to school the next day. This time Yuki tells Toru and his friends that someone just said feelings to her. The person apparently asked Yuki to be his girlfriend. She didn't know how to refuse that person's declaration of love so that he wouldn't bother her again. Izumi then suggested that Yuki pretend to have a boyfriend. Toru hears about the proposal and offers to pretend to be Yuki's boyfriend. Yuki feels awkward because she secretly likes Toru. She agreed, and they met a male student who confessed his feelings for Yuki. Yuki comes with Toru and introduces him as a boyfriend. She returns awkwardly when Toru starts to act sweet and says that she is indeed his girlfriend. Unbeknownst to them, Sakura saw Toru and Yuki from the window in the classroom hall. She saw them holding hands because they were still pretending to be dating. She then looked for Yuki, and they met on the stairs. Sakura asks about Toru and Yuki's relationship, and Yuki lies, saying that she and Toru are dating. The lie apparently made Yuki feel guilty, and then she meets Remi at a cafe and asks for advice. Unfortunately, Remi's advice didn't make her feel any better. The scene changes again, showing Kyoko and Izumi coming home from school together. Unexpectedly, a group of male students block their way. They are Izumi's old friends, one of whom is named Tanihara. Tanihara is a friend who used to ostracize Izumi in middle school. No wonder Izumi hates him right now. The flashback scene shows Izumi was ostracized by his friends for forgetting to feed the school's pet rabbit. In fact, the one who forgot to feed was Tanihara. When he meets Izumi again, he feels guilty for what happened in the past. But he didn't dare say that. In class, Toru finds out what happened between Yuki and Sakura. Toru invites Yuki to talk alone on the roof. He reveals that he actually doesn't like Sakura. Instead, he likes Yuki. Yuki thought Toru's words were just a joke. Finally, Toru convinced her that he seriously liked her. They started a relationship as a couple. In the afternoon, Izumi was about to start odd jobs when Tanihara suddenly appeared. He apologizes to Izumi for what happened in the past. Unexpectedly, Izumi was not angry and said that humans are like that. Both of them felt relieved because they could continue to live without the burdens of the past. While sleeping at night, Kyoko dreams of breaking up with Izumi. This made her try not to get into trouble with her boyfriend. She was worried. At school, Kyoko's worries increase when Izumi keeps avoiding her. She kept trying to get closer, but he gave reasons to keep going away. Kyoko is feeling very sad. But apparently, Izumi's actions had a reason. He is preparing a surprise and doesn't want her to know. At home, Izumi cooks and bakes cakes for Kyoko to celebrate Christmas. Kyoko was relieved that her dream didn't come true. Izumi celebrates Christmas at Kyoko's house with her parents and brother. They are very happy. But the problem doesn't just go away. Kyoko and Izumi were walking around looking at the lights on Christmas Day when they realized they would separate after graduating from school. She refused and asked to continue with him. Then Izumi asked Kyoko to marry him. Later after graduation, Izumi will work at his mother's cake shop to have his own income. Horimiya ended by showing Izumi alone on the school roof. He brought a flower for Kyoko and a graduation letter. The image of his past self comes, and Izumi is finally determined to completely leave his past behind.